spending is...
In last year's budget, the Liberals announced $4 billion over 7 years for Indigenous housing. And on Tuesday, they announced the same $4 billion over 7 years again. The only difference is the actual spending won't begin until 2024 instead of 2022. This Indigenous housing advocate says his organization is getting tired of government announcements and wants to see action.
Not $1, even from last year's budget. $300 million that's been announced. Not $1 has been implemented. Not one Indigenous person living in an urban, rural, or northern housing area has benefited from last year's federal budget announcement.
The National Association of Friendship Centres agrees it is not nearly enough.
What's announced is nowhere near matching the need. And so we'll have to spend some time thinking through how do we actually fill that gap, right? The National Housing Council has made their recommendations. They've costed it out. There's numbers out there that are rooted in reality.
Also in yesterday's budget, an investment of $123 million over 5 years was announced for a national action plan to act on the calls to justice in the MMIG inquiry's final report. Though Paktuktuk Inuit Women of Canada believes the government has waited too long, its president, Jerry Sharp, says the funding is a step in the right direction.
Tragically, our women's families and communities continue to pay the cost for this inaction. In yesterday's budget, there was a focus on increased monitoring and reporting, so Paktuktuk is hopeful these accountability measures will increase progress.
But the Native Women's Association of Canada isn't quite so optimistic. In a press release, NWAC CEO Lynn Grew says, "With words but no actions, this government continues to show Canadians Indigenous women simply are not a priority." Fraser Needham, APTN National News, Ottawa.